Sanibonani, welcome back to another episode of Hearty Thursdays. Ngumama Wezizwe, and I'm here to fill your hearts with art. In this podcast, we talk about art. We talk to the people that make the art, and the people behind the people that make the art, and the people that make the art, but a lot of people don't know that they do. And today we are so excited to have a poet in the house. Our guest, Masai Sepuru, is a set designer, performer, producer, and painter. A jack of all trades. Welcome to Hearty Thursdays. How are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you came for the free snacks.
Oh, wow. Okay, now I know. Please tell us about you, your background, where you born, where you from.
My background is a paint. Oh, my background,
Wow.
I'm from Limpopo.
And you should have brought your painting.
No. I'm from Limpopo. I'm from a town called Mahofe.
I thought you were from Pretoria.
No, I studied in Pretoria.
Okay.
Yes. How I came to Gauteng is for school. Then I stayed in Gauteng since that. And I went to Pretoria to study theatre. So yeah, that's how I came to Pretoria and Gauteng. That's how you think I'm from Pretoria.
Wow.
And yeah, that's pretty much like my background.
Yeah.
Where I'm from and what I do.
Do you think you prefer Joburg over Pretoria?
Neither. Not in a bad way. I think I'm someone who likes to move around.
Mm-hmm.
There's time, like there's I feel like I've spent enough time on a place or in a city. I move. I feel like I've done what I need to do in that city. I'll move. It's nothing to do with the city itself. It's just how if I've spread myself. Because the thing is, if you do enough in a city, you never really leave the city in such that people will always call you back to do what they know you for. So so far it's neither, man. Pretoria did what it did, and Joburg is doing what it's doing, and maybe other cities will do what they do. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. What's your earliest memory of being exposed to art?
My earliest memory of being exposed to art. So my dad could draw.
Oh, that's nice.
I think that's like as early as I can. Yeah, my dad could draw. And yeah, that's the earliest memory I have. He just liked drawing. Yeah, and then I just learned what he was drawing. And it was like a bunny and a house, a car. So I just learned and picked up from there, and then
That's nice.
yeah, that's the earliest memory I have of art, I guess.
Was your mom always open to having a kid that's an artist and not a doctor?
My mom is
or
awesome,
a
man. My
lawyer?
mom never really cared about what exactly it is that I do, as long as I'm happy.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I'm from a supportive family. Yeah, my family is very supportive in what I do and who I am. So I never had that problem of like, I'm gonna tell my family I'm gonna do art. It's gonna be hard. I think also they kind of always knew. You kind of see your child going like, he's going that way. You know what I mean? Yeah. So no, I never had that struggle. My family just, they love what I do. I think I'm the first artist in the house. But regardless, yeah.
That's nice. So in at TUT, you did set design. What does a set designer do?
I did this course called Performing Arts Technology, right?
Okay.
Performing Arts Technology has sound, lights, sound and lights for stage and concerts and, some part of television and whatever. So you have sound and lights. It has costume and makeup for stage and for television and movies. So it's costume and makeup. It has decor, which is decoration, which is sets, which is painting. And then there's props. So it's 6 things. And then there's textile when I was still there. So there was textile. There was 7 things that we did. And then at some point you have to specialize. You can't do 7 things.
Yes.
Wow. So I specialized in set designing and then properties. Properties is props. And to answer your question, what does a set designer do? design sets.
Wow.
As a design sets,
Should have
man.
expected that.
I mean, it's in the name. So a set designer sort of like designs the world the story will exist in, and sort of brings in the necessary backdrops and background.
So if
And
this was a movie scene, your job as a set designer would be to bring this and this and this.
I mean, yes, if we were sitting in a studio. Otherwise, we'll just source a place with the required things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Also, there's that eye of like if the venue we are sourcing fits the story. You know what I mean? It's not just arriving in a house and then say this is a house. So, and also just designing, giving the location character. You know what I mean? Giving the location story itself. Like when you're looking, it's already telling you something about what's about to happen. You know what I mean? Or where the story is set, whether it's set in now, set in the 90s, set in the post-apocalypse, set in a girl's room, set in whatever. So yeah.
Oh wow. So you're a producer. What is that?
A producer produces. A producer, is someone that sort of deals with the funds of the project. Deals with the finances, deals with the who is being involved, who are we involving in the project, who are we calling in, how much is that going to cost us, so yeah, this it's just basically dealing with like the funds and the money of the product of the project, you know what I mean, and also like sort of analyzing the concepts, if it works, if it's feasible, if it's if it's needed, because sometimes you just you want to put your energy in something that doesn't quite work. Some projects don't have money, but we still need producers because they can understand, the necessity and the practicality of what is it that you're trying to achieve, in essence.
Okay. So when did you fall in love with theater, and how has your theater experience been like?
I fell in love in theater school. I intended to study film.
Okay.
But so what happened was, what is that thing where there's like list of courses? That thing. So
yeah, brochure. I actually learned the
thank you.
prospectus. Yes,
yes. It was a
prospectus. Yes.
So there was photography, there was theater, and then there was film.
Okay.
It was in that order. So in photography, on the side, they wrote like, if you want to study photography, you have to buy your own camera. Come with the camera or whatever. And I read that, and I'm from a family where there was no way possible to afford a camera, knowing how much cameras cost. There was no way. It was not even a thing you can ask, So then there was film. Knowing what a camera of a photography costs, my head was like, there's no way I'm even going to look at the cameras for film. So I didn't apply for film, I applied for theater, the second thing, because it also had like script writing and producing and directing as the things you can like, but I want to do this as well. And then I did theater, only to find out when I'm at school that no, you don't have to buy film cameras.
Yeah,
they already provide us like
yeah.
But it was too late because by then I already fell in love with theater and I wanted to see it through. And the costs of application and whatever and starting over or something else, it's not the luxury I had at the time. So I'd rather finish it, and if I wanted to study film after, I would do that. But right now I'm already doing film as an art director. So, and I'm kind of like creeping in other departments and writing and directing and, so I don't need to study film through school. I'm studying it practically at work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I love Samuel Omunye, and I feel like I need to see it again. Everything was amazing. Actors, performance, everything. Take us through it from the time you wrote it to when you first showed it.
The year before, I had a show called Morongwa as a one-hander, and it kind of did very well.
Were you performing it?
No, I just wrote and directed it.
Okay.
And then, so people liked Morongwa. And then this gents, two of my friends, they asked me, man, write something for us. because and at the time I was battling with this existential question of hard determinism or free will. But I do that a lot. There's a lot of just philosophical things that I kind of debate and ask myself and my friends, just going, not necessarily story, just asking those existential questions. And at the time I was dealing with hard determinism and free will. And when they asked me to write the script, it was December, I remember, December. And then I started writing it as a concept. And then I developed it as a play. But it was a two-hander because of two guys wanted a play. And I was like, okay. And then it was a novelty thing. I was just like, sure, whatever, I have the time. But the more I started, writing it, the more I fell in love with it, and the more it developed into something actually bigger than just here's a script. You know what I mean? And it became quite a very, very solid script that's sort of people liked. And so we developed it further to, I suppose, the version that you saw, where it's much, developed, and I've done more work to it now that it's like, now that it's like a thing that, you would want to watch again.
Yeah, I would really, really love to. I love it a lot, and it was amazing. Even the performers, I was like, now that you're saying what you wrote it like for them because they want it, it makes sense. Like it is for them. It's it is amazing. So you won 2 slams, the Twana Speak Out Loud and the Word and Sound, making you the only poet to actually hold those 2 titles at the same time. So tell us about that experience.
I won Wooden Sound first.
Okay.
So what happened? Obviously, I was in Pretoria, right? I was performing poetry in Pretoria, but there's something about Joburg and how they take care of their poetry culture and how they documented it. That seemed very appealing. And if you made it in Joburg, you sort of like made it in South Africa. And all the known poets in South Africa are known through stages of like Wooden Sound and CSP, and Wooden Sound specifically because it has a league. So all the, like, if you want to be in anyone in the poetry culture of Gauteng or South Africa, that's sort of like the route that you take. And we thought like we were big in Pretoria, and we, some of the videos we watched, they weren't as like, but so surely. So we started coming to Joburg to attend. That was before I moved to Joburg, just to attend monthly the league, the poetry league. And then I won the first month because you have to, like, if you win, you kind of accumulate points, and then at the end, the top 5 with the most points go to the final.
Okay.
So I won the first, and I was like, so I might as well continue with it, And then at the end of the year of the league, I end up winning Wooden Sound, and then, but still, I was still in Tshwane Speaker. I mean, still in Tshwane, so I could apply for Tshwane Speak Out Loud, and then I already knew that I could win Tshwane Speak Out Loud because of the experience and sort of the excitement from the previous year, from the 2018 Slam Wooden Sound. 2019 was Tshwane Speak Out Loud. I had that excitement, that fuel, like I'm a slam champ. And then I did, I guess. And then that was cool, man. Just winning both slams back to back, sort of helped solidify the name around amongst my peers, and that, I'm somebody, Yeah.
Oh wow. So let's talk about these 2 poems then. The Ocean and
what?
And Asarina Balui. Is that the title of the poem?
Yeah, sure. Let's say that.
Okay. So they are hard facts, and I feel rage whenever I listen to them. Like, sorry. I feel like it's... No, sorry. I feel like it's conversations that we need, like that we need to have. So take me through the process of writing pieces like that, and why do you feel like it's important for people to hear them?
I think it's important that people like listen and read all types of poems. I think poetry is a very important art discipline. Not necessarily those 2 poems, but like not necessarily just me, but there's a whole list of poets I can mention who write amazing work and who should be listened to. But I suppose to answer you about that kind of work, um, pride, man. I think black pride is very important. I think something that we're very much robbed of, and we not notice that we are robbed of it. You know what I mean? And pride, integrity, honor. Those are some of the things that are very much stripped of black. And you can see in the way we behave, the way we act, the way we abuse, the way we drink, the way we drive, the way we love. I mean, it's seen as violence, and which it is. But I think just below that is just lack of integrity, lack of pride, lack of, like, we know, like, when you're at the lowest, you can't get any lower. So I'm gonna behave whatever way I want to behave. So I try to write poems that sort of like, highlights, or kind of, highlights, or as a reminder that we are people of pride, and there's some things that you know we should hold value. Not necessarily just there's nothing prideful about the stereotypes that are attached to black people, or black politicians, or black policemen, or whatever, like corruption or whatever. There's no pride in that. But once you have pride in what you do, pride in your job, there's a sense of integrity that goes in that. And when there's a sense of what's that word, patriotism, when you love your country, you know what I mean? When you love your country, like, this is my country, take care of it. uh, you want litter, you want yeah, just like we black people just need their pride back. I think there's something about colonization that that took that away, where you already feel like a second class citizen.
Yes.
And being a second class citizen, or someone is always accountable or responsible for you. You know what I mean? Someone tells you where to go, where you can't go, what time you're supposed to be sleeping, what food you're supposed to be eating, and in what language you're supposed to be speaking. And so, yeah, we got the freedom, but are we aware of, like, that we still sort of second class, view ourselves as second class? You know what I mean? So we have not had that conversation about what that did to us. Freedom is, you can be free from bars, but if you're not free mentally, then you always find your way back to the bars.
No.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, just that's sort of the work that I write about. Just, I think I'm answering for both poems. It's the same concept of just highlighting that there's something special, there's something human about us. We're not just second class individuals.
Oh wow! And I feel like what you also touched on in this poem is religion and
Yes.
God and
Yeah. I touch a lot on that. Because still authority, still what is it that you bow to? You know what I mean? What is it that you have full respect for? And the ultimate thing, I suppose, is God, and the access of God is through religion and spirituality. And once you interrogate that, once you sort of clean our prayer place, what's the word? Shrines. If we clean our shrines, then we know exactly what it is that we're bowing to. Not to bow to money, not to bow to, or former leaders, not to bow to white supremacy, because people will inevitably bow to something. You know what I mean? It's inevitable, So just sort of interrogate what exactly it is that we are giving our praises to. You know what I mean? Not to give praise to Western standards, not to give praise to Eastern standards, but to have our own sort of yeah. So that's still, it all boils down to pride in ourselves, and loving ourselves as ourselves, and seeing ourselves as worthy human beings of good and great things and even miracles.
Oh, wow. So tell me about the writing on the wall. How did it come about, when, and how has the journey been?
The writing on the wall is a concept that I came up with, I think last year, this time probably. I say last year, this time. Someone is going to look at this podcast in 5 years. It will not make any sense. It will not make any sense. So last year, this time, I came up with it. And because I wanted to explore like performance poetry, right? And I wanted to sort of merge all of my other skills into one, which is poetry, performance, singing, and set design. And I wanted to make something of that. But I could have just done it myself, could have just been another Masai Sepuru thing. But because there's still like I have a producer's bone in me and a director's bone, inevitably I always involve other people whom I see would like this sort of experiment or experimental space. So I create a space. I perform like I would perform anyway. But then at the same time, I call three other poets to sort of explore and interrogate their work the way I'm interrogating my work, And another thing is that I'm a fan of these people that I'm calling. So I can A, wait for them to perform somewhere and buy a ticket, or B, create a space and watch them for free. I think B works.
Wow. Okay,
I think
that's
B.
smart.
I think B works. You know what I mean? And I think since we started, I've watched some great performances, man. Like, for free. I've watched amazing works. Like the first one, we had Modise Sohote, we had Vuyelwa Malulek, we have Soli Ramatsui, and me. And then the second one, we had Belita Andre, we have Sabelo Soko, we have Jonathan Lefenya. So it's just like these names are big names, like it's not like just willy-nilly, just, so I got to watch like a very amazing work. It's important. I mean, it's weird how they say like the space that I've created is important. I was essentially just creating a space where poetry can live in another sort of dimension, not the normal, what is it called? The normal, not showcase, because that's what I'm doing. Open mics, not normal open mics, not in a slam form, not in an open mic form, not in a corporate environment, but in a theatrical, dimension, in a theatrical perspective, where you cannot incorporate other elements to assist, not to add on, not it doesn't change the quality of the poem, but it just sort of like highlights and, yeah. So yeah, we've had amazing works, man.
Oh, wow.
Who did you have recently? Namashenga Tamini, Corey Strange. We had me, and we had Makafula Vilagazi. So yeah, it's just very, very amazing artists. Amazing artists.
That's great. Tell me about Views Avenue. What does it do?
It's a production company. So I produce through it. Because I can't just produce as Masai Sepuru. So I open a company where I can produce everything that I do, whether plays, whether showcases, whether short stories, whether film, whether exhibitions, So it's sort of like a wheelbarrow. I can alone carry my things like this. So I needed a company where I can pour things in and sort of remove myself as the face. You know what I mean? So the company now is the face. Because understandably, there's a team that works, So it's not just me. If it's just a Masai Sepuru thing, but I still have a team, it's being selfish, But if there's a company name that other people can stand behind and sort of assist and bring in their own sort of skills, accounting, marketing, producing, directing, So it's a whole team that I'm working with. Whether or not you are an official member of Views Avenue or, you're an intern or you're volunteering, at least you're working behind something. I know I perform, I'm always in front of the audience, but I don't like being the face, I think I'm fine with being the face of Masai Sepuru, the performer, that's fine. That's inevitable. I can't run away from that. But other things that are bigger than me, that I've collaborated with artists that are, amazing. I don't want to be the face. I like the company to be the face, and people to trust that there's a group of people that have been taking care of them. Like when you're coming for the writing on the wall, at least it's not me. There's other people that are involved. There's a staff of 10 people every time we do this. Cameras, makeup, costume, sets, sound, lighting, So if it's just Masai Sepuru, it's not as, it's not as appetizing as a company that is going to take care of your needs as a performer.
Oh, wow. When did you start painting?
When did I start painting? I started painting in 2013 because I was painting in school. We were painting sets.
Oh, okay.
Huge sets for theater. But you learn how to paint. You learn how to paint. You learn the color mixing. You learn how to. I was already drawing when like I said, I learned from my dad. I started painting through that, learning how to paint it's called scenic art or scenic painting. We were painting for theater. And then in my own spare time, I started just painting smaller things and, fell in love with the concept of fine art and what that does for storytelling. You can tell a story through a painting. You can still. So I think I'm two things. Like if I have to I'm a storyteller and then I'm an artist. And I tell my stories through art.
So a storyteller is not an artist.
I'm an artist, meaning like a visual artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to really narrow it down, then I'm a visual artist and a performing artist, which is sort of the umbrella of everything. It falls into everything. So those are the primary things that I am, right? So I liked any other avenue I can tell a story, I'll take it. If it's film, sure. If it's theater, sure. If it's fine art, sure. If I have to perform it, sure. If I have to write songs, sure. Any other thing you can think about that says this is a way of telling a story, I will get my hands in it. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like you can express yourself better or more through painting or poetry?
I think they achieve different things.
Okay.
I think they achieve different things. Poetry has my type of poetry at least, is more confrontational.
I get it.
Yes. So
who are you confronting, yourself?
Myself, the society, and whoever else is listening. So it's more like we are talking about this and we are getting into this specific thing. I don't like, my poetry does not have a lot of ambiguity. You know what I mean? At the end, you sort of know what I was trying to talk about. A lot of poems, a lot of poets leave a lot of open-endedness about their poetry. Every time you go back, you learn a different line and, he could have been talking about this, or he could be exploring this, or, you know what I mean? I don't write like that, especially in poetry specifically. When you, at the end, you know what we were discussing, what we were trying to, you know what I mean? So it's more that. But because I write like that, there's still another side of me that like to put things in cryptic, more code and more. Sorry. 1 second. Where you can interrogate it beyond the thing on face value, That's what painting does for me. That gives me that opportunity to add several layers, not just with paint, but with context. You know what I mean? When you're looking at something, on face value can mean something, but the longer you interrogate it, the more it tells a different story, whether with the shape or the figures or whatever that I've painted. So it gives me that ability. Some people do that through poetry. I do it with painting. Some people do it, vice versa. But yeah. So there's other things where I can get very cryptic, like script writing. When you're watching The Tragedy of Samuel Omunye, it's like a flower that opens up. The more you watch it, you learn one thing. Sometimes you come back to watch it again and you change your perspective and you agree with the other person. So painting does that for me. It allows me to, yeah.
What is your why?
What is my why? Because my why is why not? Yeah.
Please elaborate.
I mean, you could have elaborated on your question. My why is my why not? Why not?
It does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, you asked me what's my why. My why is why not?
If not, why not? Yeah.
Exactly. If not, why not? That's my why. Not just to sound like, it's. I'm answering the question that you asked.
I get it. It is a good enough answer.
Thank
I just
you.
thought it is. I'm not saying it's not. I just thought maybe you would like to elaborate on it.
No.
But if not, it's still.
No, I think that. Yeah, I like that answer. I like the question. I like the answer.
Do you think poetry and everything that you do is getting the right recognition, respect, and opportunities?
No, of course not. But again, that's what everybody will say about their industry, But when we being realistic, poetry and art, especially in the country, is one of the most neglected disciplines.
Yes.
Because maybe they don't see the importance of it, and maybe they're not artists themselves and they've never practiced it. Maybe they don't know how difficult it is to produce. Not produce in the sense of like produce, like to create, not how hard it is to create. Maybe they don't know how hard it is to, there's many factors that,
I'm sorry to cut you. I saw this poster. There was like a competition thing. So there was different art disciplines. And then the prize for drama, I think it was 20 something K. And the prize for poetry, I think it was 500 or something. And I was like, but...
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I get why you would ask me that, but at the same time, I do drama, so I'll get the 20,000 right as well. But you're right; it is one of the most neglected disciplines, because it's sort of like a branch of how I see poetry is like where literature meets art. That's where you get poetry. You know what I mean? So it's battling. Is it a literature? Is it art?
That's what I wanted to ask you. Do you think it is? Because I saw a post, one of my friends actually believes that it is, that poetry is literature before it's performance or whatever.
Subjective.
I think so too.
I think so, but I get where they're coming from because it's written.
But then
it's a written form.
Way before. We have different kind of poetry.
Exactly. There's different types of poetry. I mean, one might argue that, especially with us, we had a lot of, what is it called, praise poetry. Would you then consider that as literature?
Exactly.
And we had a lot of, one is the when you praising yourself.
And then others are just spiritual.
Yeah,
like for me, when I start a poem, I don't know what it's gonna be about. Yeah. Like when I'm in the first stanza or first, I don't know what it's gonna be about.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like it does exist in the realm of literature, very much so. You know what I mean? Can be written, can be studied. You know what I mean? It can do that. But do not box it.
Yes.
Because there's sometimes there are scripts that are very much literature, like scripts, but they're still going to be performed on stage, as art, or as performance art. So it just really depends from what angle, you are coming from. How most of us are coming from the art side into poetry.
Yes.
And some people are coming from the literature side into poetry. So that's literally the crossroad where those things meet. And just because you cannot step on stage and recite your work, it does not mean that what other people are doing is is
wrong, or they shouldn't be doing it. Yeah, I feel like as poets we should have that conversation or whatever, because I feel like the people that believe that it's literature, they just believe that it's that and nothing else.
I
And
mean,
it's
that's
it's
the
not
thing.
fair.
I get, but
It's
you know
not
what I mean?
fair.
I don't have the energy for that. That conversation. I think my art is bigger than that. Like, I don't engage in those sort of conversations. My art holds a bigger purpose than trying to prove itself to be what it is. I don't care what you would think what my art is. It's for myself and my audience. That's who it is for. When I with your, and I'm not saying it in a bad way. Sure, whatever.
And I understand for you, because before you write, you know that you're gonna write, and sometimes you do research and whatever,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But for some of us, we don't get to do that. Like, I remember when I was 14 or whatever, I would write a whole Zulu poem, and mind you, where I'm from, it's just like 30 minutes from Swaziland. So where I'm from, we speak diluted Zulu. It's diluted with Swati. So I would literally have to ask parents and my Zulu teacher what this word mean, what this phrase mean, and it's something that I wrote. So for me, poetry is just a spiritual thing that is above me that I can never understand, because I
Yes.
just put on paper what comes at that time, and if I don't, it will never come back. So I would write something that I don't even understand, a language that I wasn't even good at, and I had to try to study it for me to be able to understand what I'm writing. So if someone is just gonna come and say, no, you need to read, you need to go do, and it's just like, okay, fine, for English that works, but for some native and South African languages or African languages, that doesn't really work.
I mean, that's again. I don't want to bash who's this person, whoever it is, and I'm sure they have their own reasons. Uh, when I have to do, when I write, there's a lot of, I have to want to write something. It needs to come from somewhere. There needs to be a sort of like a provocation for me to get into wanting to write the thing. It is very much a spiritual, thing that pushes me to want to write it. And I understand why it's important to uh, research, or read, or trying to polish it, whatever. Again, man, it's a very subjective thing. You do whatever that you want to do. I don't engage. For me, it doesn't serve me. It just it delays the process. I spend too much time trying to prove myself, as opposed to doing what I think is correct. And if 5 people like it, then it's for those 5 people. You know what I mean? And if 5 people think it's art, then it's cool. If 5 people think it's literature, whatever, it's cool too. I'm not. It's not me, man. My work has other, intention, not to prove itself, but to, have an impact amongst the people who consumes it.
What advice would you give someone who wants to make a living from art? Any art discipline.
What advice? I think first understand what being an artist means, right? And understand what exactly it is that you're selling, right? For instance, say you are a writer or a producer of a play. Let's take the tragedy of Samuel Omunye, for example. One would think I'm in the business of selling tickets. You know what I mean? That's what I'm selling. I'm selling tickets for you to come watch. I'm not in the business of selling tickets. I'm in the business of selling the story. That's my product. My product is story, right? And I'm selling it to the willing buyers who would want that story in their space, to be told in their space, and then it's mine and their responsibility to find audience. But I've already sold the product. You know what I mean? When you say, hey, I want that thing, can you come to my theater? That's you buying it, So understand first what exactly that you're selling. Other artists think that they're selling tickets. You're not. Other artists think that they're selling music. You're not. You're selling an experience. You know what I mean? You're selling an experience. Not necessarily have to go door to door selling CDs. If you go door to door selling CDs, let's say for a month, some person get hired for a gig to perform a song, get paid twice the amount that you've made, because they called them for the experience. They didn't call them they don't keep the music. They just wanted that fleeting moment that they bring, and then it dissipates, and then they get their money. You've been selling your ticket from door to door. I'm not saying that. Not saying it's wrong. I'm saying know what is it that you're selling. So once you know what is it that you're selling, you know what exactly to pour your energy into. You know what I mean? So when now you want to make money, say, of your podcast, figure out, who your client is. Is your clients the people that are going to be watching or subscribing, or is the client DSTV, SABC, YouTube? Is that you're selling? Because when YouTube pays, it pays you. You know what I mean? It pays you because you sold a product to them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The audience that comes to YouTube, they watch your video, and then they go to other things. You know what I mean? That's why there's other videos on the side. That's what YouTube paid for. You know what I mean? They bought your product because it brings traffic.
Yes.
So know your clients. It's very important to know your clients, man. When I'm selling a painting, am I selling it just to anyone that would have it? Or I'm selling someone who intends to sell it later as a valuable thing. So am I selling it to museums and hotels where it's just going to hang in a corridor to make something pretty? Am I hanging it in someone's home where a child would grow up with this painting in their head and to live with them for the rest of their lives? Understanding what exactly it is you're selling, understand what it is you're selling, understanding whom you're selling it to. That's key. I think a lot of us we haven't really interrogated that.
That's very, very important, eh? I think that's very, very important, because when you understand what you're selling, you will know who to sell it to. You won't just try to sell it to anybody, because...
Well, it's exactly the thing that we don't, like those big brands, like clothing brands, Tom Ford, Louis Vuitton, whatever. They don't sell clothes. They sell status.
Yes.
You see what I mean? Like, it's the same. I mean, obviously, the silk, whatever. You can make the same clothes with the same material and name it Masai or whatever, and charge the same amount. People will still buy Louis Vuitton because they have made themselves as someone that, like, if you're wearing this, the sense of status attached to it. So they're not selling clothes. They're selling status. So once you know your product, like, am I selling a play or am I selling a conversation? Am I selling showcases or am I selling experiences? Am I selling music or am I selling an experience? So know what it is that you're selling. Find a way, like, to look at it from another perspective, and then sell that. Not just from face value. I'm selling McDonald's. McDonald's is not selling, like, the company, the people, the CEO, the owners of it. They're not selling burgers. They're selling franchise. They're selling an experience. They don't care for it. You know what I mean? They're just like, they're selling that. People buy McDonald's to go sell it, and different managers of they're the people who bought that small Anyana franchise. They're selling franchises, not French fries. It rhymes. I couldn't let that go. You know what I mean? So understand exactly what it is that you're selling. You're not. People think they're in the business of something canting in the root cause of it. They are actually doing a different business. You know what I mean? You think I'm selling, say, generations, or I'm selling Movango for people to watch. Are you selling that, or are you selling? Are you an advertising company? Because now people just came back from home. People are tired. People are sitting around the family, whatever. What's playing? And once that's playing, you think they don't care for. I mean, they do care, but they don't care that you're enjoying it. They care that it's on. It's playing. And because there's so many eyes, Coca-Cola comes pay them for advertising on that. So whatever. So they know their business is them. You guys don't pay nothing to watch Generation, but you watch it every day. So that is also important.
True. If you think that it does, how does your work heal, teach, or bring change?
If you asked me this question last year, the response is like, I don't know, I don't think so. What do you think? But I've had like responses, and I've had people tell me, and I've been in a situation where I'd perform and people would get emotional or cry or leave because it's too much. They'll leave us. As in mid performance, you'll see someone stand crying, leaving. And it's like, yeah, is that person okay? But at mid performance, I can't stop. So there is a sort of there's an impact that the impact that the work has. But the most important thing that my work, whether it's painting, theater, whatever, is relevant conversations. I think a lot of people tap dance around important conversations. They never really like go through them. So I sort of take away the distraction and leave the conversation or whatever that needs to be discussed bare. It might not be healing, it might not be making any change, but at least we're talking about what we should be talking about. You know what I mean? That's where I come in. I undress things, I take away the glitter, I take away the lights and the shimmering of whatever it is. I take away the ambiguity. I leave nuance. I leave, context. And then that's the thing we are talking about. If we're talking about violence or talking about apartheid, we're talking about something. A lot of people can come up with other things that either doesn't help the conversation or it just fills it with like landmines of triggers. Someone is triggered because of the thing we're talking about. But if there is a delicate way of talking about something, really talking about something to the root cause, like to get into the root of it, without what's the word? Insults, but not necessarily without insult. I'm not avoiding insult because you can't avoid insult. Everybody get insulted by different things, but without attacking. That's the word. Without attacking anyone. You know what I mean? Insult. People will be insulted. Whatever. Someone can say they don't like dreadlocks, and I get offended. Whatever. But without attacking someone, but really talking about what the thing is, whether it's misogyny, patriarchy, racism, whatever it is that with spirituality, God, you know what I mean, really trying to strip away and leaving something bare. That's why I use a lot of metaphors, because the metaphor really helps you either narrow something, so say this thing is as this thing or this thing is this thing. We kind of understand that we are within the specific thing without any sort of ambiguity. Yeah.
Wow. What do you see yourself professionally in the next 5 years?
Where do I see myself professionally in the next 5 years? My work is consumed by the global population. I have experienced the global audience, not just through social media, but having interacted with some of international audience. I have collaborated with other people from other countries. I'm working within the sort of the hub or the what we would consider like the pinnacle of entertainment industries, either in the Hollywood or in New York or in the UK, because that's sort of like the propaganda that we've had. You know what I mean? I think the best way, because someone like, but why wouldn't you just want to work in Joburg and grow Joburg? But I think sometimes the best way to represent the people is by growing in, you know what I mean? So people seeing something that says, I can go there, as opposed to trying to just spread it here. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, since Trevor Noah, sort of blew up in the country, comedy and comedians have sense of pride, and there's a more aggressive way of them going abroad and performing.
Respect for comedians.
Exactly, and respect. Yes. And other companies from abroad coming in says, if this person can do this, then surely there's something where he's from. Yes. Then that's building an industry. So that's what I want to do. I want to play and participate in a global, on a global field. whether it's fine art, whether it's storytelling, whether it's theater, and so that is certainly what's going to be happening in the next in 5 years. Certainly, yeah.
Can't wait to say it. How would you define art?
How would I define art? That's a very good question. How would I define art? Art is the human spirit interacting with the world around it. Yeah, that's what art is. It's the human spirit interacting with the world around it. And suppose I take that from, like, for instance, science would be the human mind interacting with the world around it. You know what I mean? But the human spirit is art interacting with the world around it. Biology would be the human body interacting with the world around it. And yeah.
And you always emphasize on the difference between art and craft.
Do I now?
Yes, I want to know.
I do not. We just had a conversation before the podcast, and I'm going to ask you. Yeah, I'm exposing you. This is where the conversation comes from. So we're outside, and then.
But even conversations we've had before today.
I mean, sure. I mean, I suppose I can elaborate a bit on that.
Please.
It's just like there's nothing wrong with either one, There's craft where you sort of mass produce something, or you produce something, specific.
Like
yeah. I mean, an argument can be made that this is someone's art. I don't want it like that. But for specifically like a hat or a t-shirt, you know what I mean? Or a chair, or this thing that we're standing on now, or, a microphone. There's an art that went into creating it, but because it's mass produced and there's not really its design serves its purpose. It does what it's supposed to do. That's craft. You know what I mean? Art is more different. It explores, it breaks rules, it bends, it interacts with other parts of the mind and the spirit, Craft is important as well, you know what I mean? Because we need it. We can't function without it. It works closely with science and technology and engineering and design, We need that. Art is, art is just different in that it's more of an exploring, it's more of an exploring thing than anything, I suppose.
Do you think people resonate with your work?
Yes. I've been told. I say this not because that's what I've been told. Be like, Masai, really like your work, really resonates, and really like. That's what I've heard. I'm glad that I've had that response, and I'm happy that I've had that response, and so I can't now deny it. I would shy away or be humble. Oh no, what? No way. But I've had, reviews and people telling me and how it is done to them and does done for them. It's just weird when someone tells you that they've downloaded your poems and they listen to it and they know it word for word. It's like, that's just wild, And yeah, I think so. I would say that. Yeah.
When I'm sad, you usually say create. You usually say create art, because that's what you do. So how do you do that?
How do I do what?
How do you create when you're not okay, or when you're sad, or when you go?
I can't create when I'm sad, unfortunately. A lot of artists can. A lot of artists create from that. I can't. When I'm sad, when I'm sad, I'm sad. When I'm depressed, I'm depressed. I go through the most. I'm fatigued. I'm procrastinating. I'm just a mess. And so I'll just be staring at a painting or write 1 or 2 lines, and nothing really firm would come from that. But when I'm just not, when I've sort of calmed down and I've healed or whatever, I can tap into that sadness, but more interrogating it rather than experiencing it, and really now looking at it from a creative perspective, And if I do create when I'm sad, when I'm not sad anymore, I go back and I'm like, this is shit. This is horrible, And I would edit it or whatever, or I'd regret having exposed it to the world. Like, what was I thinking? You know what I mean? So I don't like creating when I'm sad. I like to be sad when I'm sad.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
What would you say is success for an artist, or for you as an artist?
A successful artist.
Yeah. What success is for you as an artist?
I think for me is when you can create your work without worrying about funds. That's it. Yeah. Definitely for me, that's what art is. You know what I mean? When you can, obviously you still have to pay for the things, but it's not something that you worry about. There's always going to be funds. There's always going to be something expensive to do, but it doesn't stop you. You know what I mean? It feel like finances is not there. Finances is not the obstacle anymore. You know, so that's for me. Like also like just able to live like a basic life, man. Like owning a house, having to support your family. Travel the world when you can, when you want to. I'm not talking about rich. You know, obviously we all want to be.
But being financially comfortable.
You know what I mean? I don't know about comfortability. I think because financially comfortable is wealthy people. You know, the rest of the world have to deal with the fluctuation of the economy. You know, whatever.
Yeah, but like when
I'm not opposed to it. I just say I love that financially sustainable or whatever. I'm just saying
like I'm not talking about wealthy people. I'm just saying about being able to like you have a house, maybe you have a car. Doesn't have to be a Ferrari, but like you have a car.
Can be a Ferrari.
Yeah, it can be, but it doesn't have to be like whatever car that you like. So you know, we have a nice house, like a nice many bedroom house, and you know paying rent or whatever. And if you actually wanna go take pictures or paint in Durban, you actually can just fly down to Durban and go
and do that.
And you have a project on the way. You can actually like that's for me. That's being financially comfortable, not being rich, not being wealthy, not being having like a lot of money, but just having some money and the time to spend it.
And also like. And that's just on the financial side of it, you know what I mean? But also another thing that is a successful artist is the type of art that has a contribution in the advancement of a culture. You know what I mean? As a contribution in the advancement of a society, as a contribution in the advancement of someone's well-being, spirituality, you know, as a contribution into the world. It's not just because you can, hypothetically speaking, sell an NFT for millions of dollars, you know what I mean? But if that thing has no contribution and it belongs into someone, it's in a house somewhere or on the net somewhere, no one else is interacting with it, then is that really like a successful artist? You know what I mean? I don't know if you are. I'm sure, I mean, that's if we are only looking at it from the lens of success, looking at the finance and the commerce of it, sure, and selling NFT it's cool, right? But if your work is not having any sort of impact within the community, then I don't see that as a successful artist. You know, the problem with being an artist is that you can be successful artist long after you've died. That's another crazy thing. You know what I mean? Where you are,
but that sucks. It's great, but it's not nice if you are not successful while you were alive.
Yeah.
And now people are only celebrating and acknowledging and loving your work just because now you're dead.
Yeah, but the crazy thing about art, once it's out, man, like it's out, it grows its own life.
Okay.
You know, and now it belongs to the world and it belongs to itself. You're just a vessel that sort of it came through with it. It would be nice if it was celebrated whilst you're still alive, but you know, it's that thing of saying like the true meaning of life is planting a tree whose fruits you're not going to eat. You know?
Yeah, I believe in that.
I
believe in that.
Yeah, it would be nice to eat fruits, but I can't be mad that if I die, so should the tree.
No? Yeah.
So I can't say that.
I think I'd die happy knowing that if I die, at least 10 generations are gonna eat fruits, like nice fruits.
Yes,
and then if one of them in that 10 decides to plant again, that means another 10.
Another tree. And not necessarily like eating in terms of like money and success, just like the contribution it has.
Yes.
So like we're still listening to great artists like that as long, you know.
And they're still inspiring young kids and
man.
young
like
artists.
You're playing a lot of Hugh Masekela, Miriam Makeba, you're still playing Nina Simone, you're still playing Ray Charles, you're still playing all those all the artists that you listen to. There's something about that tree that keeps producing the fruits of, creativity and fruits of advancement. So
Oh wow.
that's for me, it's a successful artist.
Oh wow. Oh
Yeah.
wow. That's great. So tell me, um do you do collaborations with other artists? Do you enjoy? Do you love? Do you want to do any more in the future?
I'm always collaborating. I like collaborating. I like creating with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like creating with other people. I like creating for other people. I like creating spaces for people, things to exist. I'm always collaborating. I love it, man. Like, it's just you can't carry some things alone. Some things are just big. Like, you can't shoot a movie alone.
Never.
You know what I mean? It's a
But you
collaborative thing. Yeah, I mean, you can. It'll suck, but you can. It's a collaborative thing. You know what I mean? It's a very thing where you have to collaborate with people. You can't do a theater play yourself. You know what I mean? You can write a one-hander and perform one-hander, but
You need someone who's gonna direct it or help
direct
you
it,
or
light
whatever.
it, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Mic it, sound, this you can't, So yeah, I love collaborating. You see, the problem with that is that you're collaborating, but your collaboration is not intentional. So some people only come in for money because, whatever. But when collaboration is intentional, people bring more of themselves. Excuse me. More of themselves because they know what is required of them. But if I'm just required, let's say, as a poet to write a poem about June 16, I'll write a poem about June 16 and I'll get my money and I'll go away. But if it's a collaborative something, there's more, I feel accountable for the success of the thing more than just me being called in to perform one of my poems and then get paid and go away, So it's very important to collaborate, to also see others artists take on what you're trying to achieve.
Describe the best work you've created.
The best work that I've created is always the recent work that I've created. Because and then after 2 weeks I hate it. And then I create something.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it's just
So the latest work you've created?
The latest work that I've created, it's a painting actually that I've just finished. I like this cool painting that I like. It's hanging in my house. It's ready for an exhibition we're going to have at the end of this month. Again, this will not mean anything in 5 years. But yeah, at the end of this month, we're having an exhibition, and I just recently finished the painting. It's a good painting that I like, until I draw another one or I write another poem. Who knows, So every work that it's new to me. It's sort of my favorite. And then the new work comes and the new works come. The question you can ask is, what is my work? What is my most loved piece of thing that I have created? I think it's 3 poems: Ocean, Sunless Feathers, and Chaos. Those are the most loved sort of works of art that I've created. And paintings, they are also loved, but they are loved by the people who bought them. So, yeah. But it's those works, because they are the more public work. Those are the ones that have been mostly consumed. Even the views are, there's a lot of views on them. And also, like, when people know, they don't know me, something like, no, the chaos guy. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
The chaos guy, wow.
Yeah, they just know me like that. So, those sort of like the works that I've created, those most loved works that I've created. In plays is The Tragedy of Sepuru Omunye, because it's my recent play that has finished.
I don't know Morongwa. So.
Morong was amazing, man.
Is it gonna come back?
No, I don't know. That's not likely because I'm doing more work. So if something does not sort of take off by itself, it will take me time to come back to it and help it. But some things, they take off by themselves, like The Tragedy of Sepuru Omunye, or the Chaos, or whatever, or Ocean, or Rasarna Baloy, or all those other poems. They live without me. They don't need me. Moronga needs me.
Okay.
Also, it needs the person who performed it, and they're not really like sort of active. in the poetry scene anymore. So, maybe I don't know.
There's someone I played Serena Baloi for, and every once in a while, just randomly, you'll hear him say, Serena, yo. I'm like, he doesn't even say that. But yeah. Do you have any techniques that helps you with creative blocks? If you get any.
I do get, everybody get creative blocks. Just do, man.
Someone said they don't.
That they must teach us. Just do. You know what I mean? Like the first few pages or the first few strokes are gonna be horrible when you're painting from that creative block. But essentially your creativity will tap in and take over. You know? Just do, man. You know, there's always, it's like another mistake that a lot of sort of up and coming artists do is they trying to wait for the thing to come, an inspiration or something to come, whatever, and think of themselves as this like weird beings that only exist outside the zeitgeist. You know, no, you're part of the zeitgeist. You should wake up every day and like a normal 9 to 5 person and really go to work and create and come back and take a break and all that thing. And yeah, it should work like it's work. You work up like work and you go to work and you create work. Not everybody just want to go to work and do books every day, you know. Sometimes some days are shit, sometimes some days are good. You know what I mean? There's this video like, you know, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you have to just keep doing it, you know. Wow. Not all of them are gonna be great, you know. But none of them are gonna be great if you don't start.
4 quick questions. Favorite memory? Don't think about them too much.
Favorite memory? Shit. The recent favorite memory. That's a crazy. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a lot. When we did the writing on the wall for the first time, and that was a favorite. That was a favorite recent memory. That was good. When we did the writing on the wall and we finished and people were leaving, the audience was leaving. We were just there like, we did it. We did it.
That's dope. Performing, that's like poetry or whatever, or behind the scenes, including painting, set designing, producing or whatever.
What about choose?
Yeah.
Performing. I like performing.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I perform the things I create behind the scene anyway. So if I'm going to perform, I wrote it. If I'm going to perform on stage, I designed the set. So
do you ever want to act?
I've contemplated. I've thought about it. But also like I don't want to do it myself. I want someone to see it and cast me and experiment with me. You know what I mean? And then but I wouldn't go to acting auditions just yet. Someone just see the way I perform and see the way I recite my work and they're like, hey, I can work with that. I've had that. People say that, but I haven't had any acting offers just yet. But I would like to act, man. I think it's the type of work that I've done and the type of performances that I do with poetry that's sort of lean into that as well. So it would be nice.
2 people you wish to meet and 2 people you wish to work with.
2 people I wish to meet. I don't have those. I don't have that list.
2 people you wish to work with.
The people that I wish to work with. I'm already working with the people I want to work with. I always make sure. You know what I mean? I always like, hey, I want to work with Corey Strange. I work with Corey Strange then. I want to work with Modisa Sekhut. I'm working with him now. I want to work with, that's what the writing on the wall does for me. It gives me an opportunity to call up people that I want to work with. So right now, no one comes in mind because I'm already working on a project of people that I wanted to work with. And we are we are creating something now. So I can't think of anyone just now. Maybe like maybe not just because this person sort of fits the tragedy of Samuel Omunye in film form, like John Kani, because like it's a story about like older senior people having a conversation. I've seen some of his work where he can sort of do that. I think he can fit that script well. I think maybe if I have to create musically, it would be like I used to listen to a lot of James Blake, and I like to see how his sound and my spiritual approach can collaborate. What will come from that? No, yeah, and I'm a songwriter, so there's a lot of singing artists that I would like to just have them to hear what they would, how that would sound if they were singing it, like Msaki or something Soweto, uh, you know. So yeah, I mean, there's just like a list of people that I would, like a lot, you know. It's a lot, so many that I can't mention, you know, because I'm that kind of person.
One prayer that must be answered.
Whose prayer?
Your prayer.
My prayer.
Yes.
That must be answered. That's a. Oh, am I threatening God now? Hey, bruh, you must. Yay. One prayer that must be answered. That I get to be a successful artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And successful, we've already discussed it in all aspects. You know what I mean? Yeah.
As mentioned above.
As mentioned above, yes. As mentioned above. So yeah, that's a prayer that I like to be. I like to again, as mentioned above, travel the world, collaborate with the world, consume the world, be consumed by the world. You know, that's a prayer that must be answered. And I would like for that's two now. Never mind.
No, you can say it. That's fine.
No, man. Like the support that I've gotten from my family, I would like for them to also experience that success.
Okay.
So I guess the prayer then is life, because the only way for that to happen is if they live long enough to experience it.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's life, man.
Oh wow! How do people see your work? Get in touch? Socials?
With their eyes most of the time.
Whatever.
How do people see my work? You just follow me. You know, just not in the streets.
What are your
That's
socials?
Creepy. My Masai Sepuru, Masai, Sepuru. You can just type that on Google, and then
Google me.
Yeah, Google me, baby. You crazy? Yeah. I mean, Google sort of like has all the links, you know. So if I just say the underscores or whatever, just if you go on Google, you'll find Facebook, you'll find Twitter, you'll find Instagram, you'll find other websites or other things that I've done. So that's sort of like, yeah, just Google Masai Sepuru and you'll find whatever it is that you need to find about me. Yeah.
Thank you. So today we had Masai Sepuru, who is one of the people that really inspire me. Thank you so much, Masai, for coming. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me.
Good. Where are the snacks?
Can we eat now?
Yeah, for snacks. I had those snacks.
Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Please make sure you tune in next week, Thursday, for another episode. The podcast is available on YouTube. Please make sure that you subscribe, like, share, and comment. If you would like to advertise your product or brand, please make sure that you email us. If you would like to be part of our community and find potential collaborators, do send us an email. The email is mama4work@gmail.com, which is MAMMA4work@gmail.com. This is Umama Wezizwe Sibia, and I hope I am leaving you with a heart full of art.